Hi there and welcome back to the Sportv Europe and CEE virtual conference. I hope you've been enjoying the discussion so far, and I can promise you we have plenty more to come. My name is Philip O'Connor. I'm a sports journalist, broadcaster and commentator based right here in Stockholm, Sweden. And I'm here to bring you the next exciting topic on our packed agenda, which is all about setting up and monetization of a European OTT sport platform. Don't forget to drop your questions into the chat function and we'll do our best to get you the answers you want today. With me today are Lucas van Cranach, who is the founder and CEO of OneFootball. We have Malgorzata Borkowska, sorry about that, Malgorzata, media rights consultant for the Ekstraklasa football league in Poland. We have Tobias Osmund, of the CEO of Spring Media, and Itai Epstein, head of CEE and Russia, WSC Sports. Malgorzata, can we start by apologizing for butchering your name, despite the fact that I spent half an hour practicing it? As soon as we went live, it killed me altogether. Could you just tell me in a couple of sentences what it is that you do for the Ekstraklasa Polish football league? Because it's not the biggest league in the world, and yet you still have a lot of viewers outside of Poland, right?
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Philip, for the intro, and no worries about butchering my name. I've had it butchered so many times that it doesn't bother me anymore. My name is Malgorzata Borkowska. Malgorzata is Polish for Margaret, and I'm responsible for licensing media rights, both domestic and international media rights, for the Polish football league, the top tier football league, which is called Ekstraklasa, and is sponsored by the largest national bank, the PKO BP. Bank of Poland. Apart from that, I was heavily involved in launching the Ekstraklasa's OTT service back in 2019. The service has been targeted to address international interest from audiences all over the world. The service is in Polish because it's specifically tailored to fit the needs of the Polish diaspora all over the world, and that diaspora is estimated to be 12 million people spread across the entire world.
That's a pretty big target market right there.
I'm
not sure that you've ever actually cooperated yet with OneFootball, but Lucas has the kind of platform that licenses this kind of content from all over the world. Lucas, the company's been around since about 2008, but could you just explain, because things have changed a little bit for you over the years, what have you been concentrating on in the last sort of year or two at OneFootball?
Yeah, so Malgorzata, we're going to definitely touch on this one, that the Polish league has to be on OneFootball because we have the Polish Cup already. There you
go. You're already halfway there.
So we have Poland, but only 50%. So yes, it's been quite a ride with OneFootball. But what we did, I would say, we always anticipated. It was not planned. When we would be in the position to cover live rights as we do today. But the objective was to first build a media platform, which we are today. So we're a closed media platform, closed in the sense that there's no user-generated content. We control the content sources which host and distribute content on OneFootball, which makes the experience more, relevant and less noisy. And so literally, a football fan from around the world can get all his or her content on his or her club. In terms of the official club channels, more and more are coming with Manchester City, with Ajax Amsterdam, with AS Monaco, with more and more clubs, who join the movement. Then you get all the blogs, you get all the data and the stats. And that is literally, for me, the customer relationship, the customer engagement, and where we are now at around about 50 million customers using the app. And based on that usage, we then entered the direct-to-consumer business, where we then offer live streaming. And by the way, we're not a licenser. We work in distribution models, so where we partner with leagues, with broadcasters, with the OTT players around the globe to give them access to our customer base. And literally, just having started with the Bundesliga in Latin America, that's been a great success for the first couple of match days. And that's not a new business. It's just the business we put on top of the existing media platform.
Of course, football is the most popular game in the world, but Tobias Osmund here in Stockholm at Spring Media, you work with sort of, second tier sports, or a lot of second tier sports, so things like Taekwondo. How did you decide to sort of, leave the football, if you like, to Lucas and go into these more niche sports with more niche audiences there at Spring Media?
Well, we actually work quite a lot with football as well, just to say that. But
yeah.
So Spring Media is a global sports media agency. We work globally with the Taekwondo Federation, for example. We distribute the Olympic Games rights in parts of Asia. And we also work locally in Scandinavia with most of the Swedish leagues sort of below the top 2 leagues. So we're doing Swedish niche sports like speedway, floorball, bandy, women's football we've been into for many years now. And we're also providing OTT solutions for the top 2 Scandinavian publishing houses, Schibsted and Bonnier. So basically we do the whole value chain from production to rights management and rights advisory down to creating and managing the OTT platforms. And I think and our niche is to work with the sports that most other agencies don't really care about. So we're usually not in the La Liga and Formula One tier, but the level below that. And we've been pretty good at finding ways to find the commercial potential in those rights, which is many times much more complicated than finding the commercial potential in Premier League, for example.
Yeah. The last thing we want here this afternoon is a bidding war between yourself and Lucas for the Bundesliga, but we'll put that to one side for the moment. Itai, Epstein is a fascinating man. We're working with a fascinating company because you basically take this sport as it happens and you convert it into data that is then converted into hundreds and thousands and millions of other things. Could you explain just a little bit about WSC Sports and what you do with machine learning in terms of creation of even more content from the events that we already watch?
Sure, thanks. So in general, WSC has an advanced cloud-based machine learning platform that creates and publishes sports highlights automatically and in real time. So basically, we analyze in real time each and every action, each and every event that happens in the game as it happens live. And for each event, the system creates completely automatically a short video clip with the perfect start and end point with all the metadata, with automated rating between 1 to 5 stars, so that on top of that kind of automated index, you can build any kind of highlight that you want automatically in real time after the game on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And you can do a lot of things on top of it. So for example, we enable our clients to automate their video production workflows, generate unique, varied, customized content on a large scale, utilize it also for maximizing fan engagement, personalized experiences like direct-to-consumer interfaces, creating new monetization and marketing opportunities, and eventually getting much more value out of their media rights. So we're talking about a full disruption of the client's digital strategy rather than just creating a little bit more highlights. Currently, WSC working with over 100 clients around the world, including some of the largest sports leagues, federations, broadcasters, OTTs, like NBA, Bundesliga, FIBA, ESPN, Discovery, NAND, DAZN, YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, and much, much more.
My head always explodes when you start talking, Itai, because I remember watching the World Cup in 1978 with Mario Kempes playing for Argentina on this sort of black and white TV in the corner, and things of course have changed and changed utterly since then. So the first thing really that I wanted to touch on is that we're still kind of in the infancy of apps, of OTT, of consuming this content in this way. So could I just start maybe, Malgorzata, by asking you, because you've been at the sort of the ordering end, you've wanted to do this for a long time, you've had to bring people in, you've had to think through your business case. What challenges did you face in doing that in terms of choosing the right technology and the right platform?
Yeah, choosing the right technology is basically a huge challenge, especially if you're one of the smaller European leagues. Ekstraklasa itself is part of the association that is called the European Leagues, and its aim is to help out such clients as ourselves in creating new products. So what we did first of all is we launched a tender trying to find the best technological partner to set up the platform itself, and we found an Icelandic company. It was basically a startup when we started our discussions back in 2019, and that has proven to be a very good partner for us. Everything is working as we had expected. However, the challenge lies in the personalization. For us, we do have a very basic search engine which is ready to be integrated with a recommendation tool, but that one still has to be deployed, and we are working also on implementing just one more feature, which we think will prove strategically the right thing to do, because it's a very nice feature that will allow us to recruit individual commentators from among the fans and recruit YouTubers and influencers to actually provide amateur commentary on live matches. And that would enable the user, the fan, to switch between commentaries during the live match. And so far, the matches have just Polish commentary. Some of the matches have been made available with English commentary last season, but it didn't prove to be as effective as we had expected. So the next step for us is to definitely implement the influencer commentary, which would certainly increase the audience figures, because it's that feature has proven to be very effective, for instance, in esports, where users on Twitch search for their favorite YouTuber or influencer, and in that manner they watch them comment live on a specific esports event. So definitely personalization is a challenge for us. Then again, we have managed to build a subscriber base of nearly 200,000 users throughout the entire year. I think that is a success, considering that we haven't done a proper marketing campaign yet. And without a proper campaign, it's not easy to target your audience. But what has also proven helpful is that across a very limited number of territories, the service is available. I mean, the service is available worldwide. However, it's usually available as a complementary feature to TV broadcasts. So in 16 territories, we have 2 matches available live on television, whilst you also get to see all of the matches on the OTT service. So you have a choice. But then again, both of the platforms, the TV coverage and the OTT platform, they cross-promote one another. So we've noticed that this is also a great and very simple and inexpensive tool to use to build your audience.
Tobias, that's one of the things that I'd like to ask you, because the influencers thing is an absolutely brilliant idea when you're aiming for a younger demographic. And a couple of years ago at the Winter Olympics in South Korea, I noticed these people from Instagram and YouTube turning up that I didn't know who they were, but everybody I know knew who they were. Tobias, how hard is it? Because if some of the sports you work with, Speedway will be popular among older Swedes and indeed people in Poland and throughout Europe. How hard is it to migrate them from being viewers of regular linear network TV to an OTT platform? What do we have to do to get people like me and older to take on that experience of sport?
Yeah, as you say, we recently helped the Swedish Speedway League to go from having been on one of the major pay TV broadcasters to launch their own OTT platform. And while the service that we provided for the fans was much better than the one they had before. It used to be they had 2 matches per round shown on TV, and that was it. We produced everything. It was there. They could go back and watch all the matches between the different teams, etc. So the product was much better, but we took away for this fan base where a lot of people are a bit older. we took away the favorite sport from their favorite TV channel, and they did not like that. So when speaking about the challenges around OTT, this was a very basic one. We actually had to educate these consumers in everything from, how do you get the signal from your app in your computer up onto your TV screen, and how do you make the payment with your credit card and stuff like that, which was very much unexpected for us. And then another challenge, of course, in doing that transition, which hasn't got so much to do with the demographics of the client base, but understanding how many of the people that used to watch this on pay TV will actually follow you to a proprietary OTT platform where they pay only for this service was really difficult to estimate. And it was fewer than we had thought it would be. It still turned out to be a good service for us. But that it's a big difference between how people watch something that just comes on a linear channel to which you have access, and when you actually have to be active, register and pay for it.
Lucas, I suppose football fans are known for being very loyal to their club. They'll pay money. I think some of the first things that we tried to monetize on the internet was various different websites offering premium services on telephone lines back in the 1990s. What has your experience of that conversion being? The fact that fans are so dedicated, has that helped you or has it hindered you because you can't meet their expectations?
So, I mean, what I always say is that the beauty about being a football platform, in contrast, let's say, to Spotify or Deezer, where it's about music, there is not the necessity of having everything in one place when you start something in a certain country. So when we do the live streaming part of OneFootball, then and we add more and more leagues, then we make more and more people happy. But the ones who have not covered their favorite club or favorite league with live content, they're not disappointed because they still have OneFootball. That was the reason why they came to the product. So I would say it clearly depends on the content coverage and what you do, and actually adding to your points, Tobias, as challenges. I think the biggest challenge is, and that's what we at least try to solve, selfishly, obviously, is that everyone talks about OTT, everyone talks about going from linear to OTT or transition, I think coexisting, etc. but no one talks about the customer. Yeah, because the more OTT services we bring to life, the more services, clubs do their own OTT, leagues do their own OTT, and not only in football, everywhere. The users overwhelmed with services and payments and where do I have a subscription? And in the end, what we need to be careful with, especially in sports in general, is that the competition doesn't come from sports itself. It comes from other services like Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon Prime in terms of payment, because the disposable income is not growing. Yeah. So users are just deciding where do they spend their money. And what we see is that, and I understand that, that people prefer to say, I spend my money with Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon Prime, and I have entertainment every minute I want in terms of music and movies. And I prefer that over a €50 subscription for my football team. Yeah, because I don't want to bundle. I want to be flexible. I don't want to have one price for everything. I just want to have a small piece of that. And I think that's something what I see as the biggest challenge, because the only way how we can make this happen is if in every sport that everyone does it together with one objective. If the objective is to constantly grow for sure Malgorzata's interest is as a league to grow the price bars, to get more money, to give that money to the club so that they can buy, that they can pay more money for players. Yeah. So Malgorzata cannot say, yeah, but I want to build a long-term sustainable 5-year business. No, it's impossible, because the club says, I want my money now and today. So, and that's the reason why I see a huge challenge. If we go and raise the price bar, we're going to have even more fragmentation and users will vanish, and football or all sports become niche interest, because not everyone can afford it.
Itai, that brings me on to the next point very nicely, because this idea that Malgorzata was talking about of personalization of content. So if we talk a little bit about what WSC can offer to a sporting organization, right? And I'm going to give you a case study off the bat here. I actually use the OTT service from the NBA to watch NBA basketball, but I'm not really interested in anybody other than the Boston Celtics ever since Larry Bird in the 1980s. I only really watch their games. I'll watch one or two highlights. What can you do for a platform, for a service, for a league like that to make it more attractive to them and to make it more attractive to me using the technology and the machine learning that you have? And what do you know about me that I don't know about myself? How do you find out what it is that I want?
All right. So that's a great question. Maybe let me to zoom out for a second to talk about in general, how can you use WSC's capabilities for OTTs in general, and then we'll zoom into your question regarding the Boston Celtics, which are great. Okay, so look, I think the first step that WSC had to do when we moved into the OTT industry is to realize what is our unique selling point there. We had to identify what's the potential value and applications of highlights and short form content, both in real time and after the game, beyond just the common and more classic use cases we've been doing for years. So we've done a very comprehensive research to understand that, and it actually connects to a lot of things that the friend just said, that we found, first of all, that highlights and short form content, and especially personalized content, are key factors in fans' consideration for even opting into a paid OTT subscription. In fact, if you even look at McKinsey's research, so they found that fans who consume over 30 minutes per day for sports highlights are 3 times as likely to subscribe to a sports OTT service. So the next step for us was to identify the main needs, challenges, and main pain points of OTTs, especially across the user acquisition value chain. And I think that all of the people here talked about how do I get the users actually tune into my platform and subscribe into my platform. So eventually we had to understand what kind of solutions we need to develop, dedicated solutions for each stage in that value chain. So what we've done is we created a scalable one-stop shop OTT solution across the entire user acquisition funnel, from brand awareness and app download, and it's going to connect in a second to your question, through subscription and purchase consideration, and eventually to the live tuning and the user retention. So we created for each and every one of these 3 stages unique and efficient solutions. And these solutions are already being used by leading OTTs today, and we can see their immediate impact in KPIs and ROI. So for example, if you are a fan of Boston Celtics, and I know that because when you subscribed or in the initial questions that I asked you when you just got into my website, you told me about yourself that you like the Celtics, or just even I see that you clicked that you like a lot of Boston Celtics videos. So with WSC's capabilities, you can actually create personalized content packages for every fan completely automatically. So when someone from Boston Celtics is doing something cool, you will get instantly in real time while the game is happening, a real time.
We seem to have lost Itai there very briefly. Itai Epstein in Tel Aviv there. And it's kind of unfortunate because I wanted to hear more about how much more Boston Celtics he's going to give me, but we will get back to him a little bit later on. We're going to move on now to, from what he was saying, onto the monetization aspect of it. What I call the Jerry Maguire question, show me the money. How do we make money out of these things on OTT platforms? How do we find the right business model? And I suppose we'll start again with you, Malgorzata, because you are one of the people who was tasked with doing this for the Polish Soccer League. If you look at the options, subscriptions, advertising, pay-per-view, any combination of these things, what have you found has worked for you so far, and what are you looking at doing in the future?
Yeah, so we have decided to offer all of the models to the end user, all of them apart from the subscription, the ad-supported model. So we offer a pay-per-view, which is quite inexpensive. It's €2.99. We offer a monthly subscription at $6.99 with a try and buy model, where during the first month you just subscribe and you can unsubscribe if you don't like the service. And then there's the season pass, so you commit to a €50 payment for the entire season. So what has we have analyzed the data, the user data, and it turned out that 60% of the users have actually chosen to go for the monthly subscription. 30% of them went for the pay-per-view, while the rest of them, which leaves us with 10%, actually have decided to go for the season pass. However, what Lucas has mentioned is that the customer spend is not going to increase, especially during the pandemic and amidst the coronavirus financial crisis, which is certainly on its way towards each and every one of us. So what we have also been considering is to enable the ad-supported model that would allow us to make some money off of advertising. That's definitely a less beneficial model in terms of revenue. However, it's what the users eventually seek. If you give them a choice, then they're happy. So that's what we have discovered. Also, what we can see is that if you also an easy way to make money is to find a sponsor. And if you have a ready application, and if the sponsor that you find does not compete with the existing sponsors. So, for instance, I have the Ekstraklasa has the Polish bank as one of its sponsors. So I should find somebody who's not in direct competition with that particular company to sponsor, for instance, the Ekstraklasa TV. So that's also another way to make money off of your own users. Sometimes it's not worth to start making money straight away. For instance, Itai was mentioning the Boston Celtics digital near-life clips or in-progress match highlights. We do the same in the case of Ekstraklasa matches. If you follow a specific club, then we can send you a pop-up message to your mobile application. You click on that and you immediately watch a clip from a specific match, and that's another way to build a fan base. And that fan base you can monetize by selling it to a sponsor or to an insurance company, who would then be able to send their insurance offer to such a client, of course, if they have the client's permission at the end of the day. But it's something not to be underestimated. It's there. It's the data. We're all collecting data because it turns out to be precious at the end of the day.
Tobias, if I come to your office as Spring Media here in Stockholm, and as I happen to do, I play a niche sport in Stockholm, I play Gaelic football. There's about 200 of us in all of Sweden. If I come to you and say, I want to show these games, how do I make money off it? What would your advice to me be? Is it subscription, advertising? Is it go home, give up, you're too old to be playing this game? What would you say to me?
I think it really comes down to what your objectives are. So you want to maximize revenue from subscription or pay-per-view, or do you have significant sponsorship potential where reach is more important? And because you'll always have this trade-off between a high-priced subscription on the one hand that will maximize revenues, but it will bring down the number of viewers. And on the other side, you can have a completely open platform that will maximize reach and sponsorship potential outside of the platform, but your revenues will be much smaller. And we work with two clients in one of those each extremes, where the Swedish women's football is on the one extreme, where for them it's all about visibility and increasing their reach and being exposed in media. So what we've helped them do is working with an OTT platform as like a base where we produce all the matches in the league, and then sub-license them to TV channels, to online outlets, etc., which has made the Swedish Women's Football League the third most exposed league in Sweden, where it's by far the third biggest sport, but we deliberately try to reach that goal for them. And where they've made their money is on sponsorship for the league and for the teams, etc., not directly from the OTT platform. And on the other extreme, we also work with Swedish bandy, where, similar to Speedway, they have a very dedicated fan base where, you know, for them, there is nothing more important to do on a Sunday afternoon than to watch their team play bandy. And we're actually, I think that the most expensive package for bandy was above 40 euros per month. And we had quite a lot of subscribers at that price point. And there we experimented with, you know, what happens if we increase the price? Well, we lose some subscribers, but the overall revenue goes up. And that was the most important thing for the league. But of course, you also need to remember, if you put everything behind a paywall and charge a lot of money for it, it's going to be difficult to attract new fans and viewers. You're basically exploiting the fan base that you already have. So yeah, so it comes down to what do you want to achieve in the long run?
I'm actually going to put that question to Lucas very, very shortly, but I see that Itai is back online there, and I just wanted him to finish. He was just about to tell me how he's going to get more money out of me for watching the Boston Celtics, and I'm going to get better content. So just in a couple of quick sentences, Itai, where were we there? You were just about to tell me how you can package that for me.
Right. So, and maybe I can also connect myself to your current question. So basically, if I know that you're a Boston Celtics fan, and I know that because you gave me this information, or I know it from the likes that you clicked or whatever. So when there is a game of Boston Celtics and something cool happens, I can actually push you via push notification to your mobile app, for example, or other medias, a real-time highlight of 30 seconds of a cool dunk that just happened with a promotional link and call to action of subscribe to the League Pass now, or watch all Boston Celtics game or whatever. So you can actually promote in real time and increase your brand awareness. And then if we take it to the next stage of considering the subscription and the retention, so when you consider the subscription and you click the link that I just sent you, so you can also see that I can offer you a rich VOD of Boston Celtics, and you can get your own personalized content packages according to your needs. So you know that you're getting much more than just live streams. You're getting personalized highlights, personalized VOD, personalized archive. You can get whatever you want according to your needs. And then again, you can get a lot of value and a lot of unique content after you subscribe. And that's the third stage of user retention. And we've created a lot of cool interfaces of when you watch the game live, what's the unique experience that you get as a fan, whether it's the ability to watch all the real-time play-by-plays on your screen. If you tuned it in the 60 minute, you can scroll down, watch all the plays that you missed. You can get the catch-up highlight until the exact minute that you tune into the game, and a lot of other things that we can help you to do on top of that capability of producing a lot of content in real time automatically.
It actually feels like Itai has been following me around for 20 years and asking me always what I would like to see, because I think all of this is brilliant. Lucas, one of the things that Tobias brought up there was that this thing of, okay, do we want to spread the sport? Do we want the sport to be visible, or do we want to make money? But of course, those two things go hand in hand, right? Because the more popular you are, the more your sponsors on your shirt is seen. And how do you find it working with bigger leagues like the Bundesliga? Because the Premier League is said to be the most popular league in the world. Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi have made the Spanish football very popular. How do you see that dilemma, and how do the people who work with OneFootball see that dilemma? Do they want to be seen, or do they want to make money directly from the OTT platform?
What you're saying is referring to the hypothesis that bundling is the way to go for. Yeah.
Yes.
So I actually promote debundling, because the thing is, for me, it's not about the Premier League or Champions League or whosoever is the most recognized and most asked for. The thing is, I'm a fan of probably one of the shittiest Bundesliga teams, which is called Cologne. They're constantly losing, but I'm a fan. Yeah. And I'm still willing, wherever I am on this planet, to pay probably 3-4 euros for every single match. So it is not about the fact of how popular a league is. It is about the fact that there are fans of certain sports and teams, and that they just want to get access. So, and I agree with Tobias, that there are multiple ways to approach it, but I believe that the way how to approach it is, it's my view, yeah, if you take a country like Brazil, or maybe, you know, Germany, to make it easy, yeah? The tier 1 rights in Germany are the Champions League, the Bundesliga, the second Bundesliga, and the German Cup, yeah? So, and I'm not saying Premier League is bad or whatsoever, I'm just saying that's where you have the masses, yeah? So then you have a tier 2 where you get to the Italian league, the French league, the Spanish league, the English league, and then you have the long tail, yeah, where it's getting even more fragmented. And I believe that for the tier 1 rights, you know, they have to be behind a paywall, and there you can bundle, yeah. So you can bundle and say Bundesliga, or you can bundle and say Champions League, because it's so broadly recognized. Then you have the tier 2, where I would go for a pay-per-view and a subscription on a club basis, by the way, because I'm not watching Bundesliga, I'm watching Cologne. And maybe there are some exceptions when there's Bayern Munich playing against Borussia Dortmund, but that's then maybe 4 or 5 exceptions. But I should buy them via pay-per-view. And then the long tail, yeah, and please don't take it wrong, Malgorzata, that you know, the Polish league for me is part of the long tail. I would offer free to air, yeah, because that's the only way how you can bring football. You can have football still remaining a mass sport, because if you put everything behind a paywall, and it counts for every sport, by the way, it will be limited to the ones who can pay for it. Or then suddenly you should stop the discussion around, oh, why do we have so much piracy? Piracy is so awful. Yeah, then make it accessible, make it cheaper. Yeah, don't discuss piracy as a problem from customers who do piracy. Make it your problem that your offering is wrong. You see it with music. You know, we had Napster and all these services, and music was far too expensive. Now it's easy and accessible. Suddenly, hundreds of millions of people are paying 12 euros for Spotify and Deezer and these services because it's a good product. Yeah, and they're willing to pay for their content. So that's, I think, the way how I would approach it, and that's why, you know, we love to have the discussions with the leagues and the federations and the broadcasters, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the Polish league on OneFootball very soon.
There you go. That deal will be done 5 minutes after this conversation is over. We've about 9 minutes left in this particular slot today. So I'm going to ask you a little question about that, but it's very interesting what you say, Lucas, because I know FIFA are pushing women's football very hard. So they had over 1 billion viewers of the World Cup last year in France. And it is that thing of, okay, just put it out there. Even if you don't get paid a whole lot for the rights, put it out there so people can see it. And then when they learn to appreciate it, well, then that brings value. And I'm sure Tobias has seen the same thing in Swedish football. But to round off, I would like to ask each of you the exact same question, right? If we were to have this conversation in 5 years' time, Malgorzata, what will have changed in the OTT business? What will have changed in how you put the Ekstraklasa forward? And what would you personally most like to see change?
Yeah, I think it's a twofold question because it tackles not only our service, but also OTT services in general. I think that the pandemic will certainly impact the way we offer live content and the viewer experience. For instance, I'm pretty sure that everyone is aware by now that Disney have recently enabled the group watching feature. So I think that's even better if it were applied for live sports rather than VOD content. Because this way you can have and you can experience watching a live football match with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. And if we all go under lockdown this year or the next year, if the pandemic keeps recurring and there's no vaccine, then I guess that group watching will be something to watch out for, definitely. What we also did ourselves within the Ekstraklasa League is when we resumed after the lockdown, resumed playing after the lockdown, we implemented some background noise for the fans. because that was also making the stadiums a little bit louder than just hearing the players on the pitch. But what will happen in 5 years? I guess it's a long shot. It's very difficult to predict. But I personally think that group watching will be something to keep track of. I don't think that the zone will all of a sudden disappear and that that other OTT service will disappear. I think that we will have more OTT service, the likes of UEFA, where you have a bundled product that is offering all of the UEFA content. The same thing might happen with European leagues, where you have 16 smaller leagues, which could possibly come together and offer an OTT platform that grants you access to either one of them or all of them, or a selected few, or selected clubs. I think that there are multiple possibilities here, but I don't think that that OTT will eventually make a television broadcasting obsolete. I think the two will definitely coexist, and I fully agree with Lucas that free-to-air television or even pay TV, it's here to stay. It's here to give you the best possible quality and the best user experience, while OTT, I think it's something for smaller disciplines and something for less accessible sports.
Speaking of less accessible sports, Tobias, in 5 years' time, will Spring Media be providing me with any sporting event that I want to see? And what would you like to have achieved in that time frame?
I think one of the challenges is catering to the younger audience, because today what most of us are doing, and we're very much doing that, is we're just taking the broadcast experience and we're moving it to a different platform. So most of the talk around personalization, interactive function, and so on, most of the players out there, we don't really do that. And when we're looking at facing a younger audience, now they're less likely to ever get a pay TV subscription, and they have a viewing behavior that is quite different. So they don't necessarily sit down at kickoff time to watch a whole game. So we need to find ways to be present where they are and serve up our product, I think, in a different way. So more bite-sized, you need to have different entry points throughout the game and be available on more platforms outside of your own. And then, of course, the challenge is you need to find a way to make money from that. So that's, I would say that's what we will be working on in the next 5 years.
Lucas, rather than having millions of Cologne supporters, or other than having millions of Cologne supporters like yourself around the world, where do you expect to be in 5 years with OneFootball and OTT platforms?
So I would less, say where we're gonna be, but I would like to put some wishes and some hopes. And my wish is that the football ecosystem, and especially the leagues and the clubs, understand that yes, it is about earning more money, and it is a capitalistic industry. Yeah, so it is about earning revenues, but that the industry realizes that it has its limits, and that collectively the football fan is going to be put back in the center of the sport, and not the objective of earning as much money as possible. Because if that continues, then I see really, really big difficulties in sustaining the sport as an attractive sport in the future. And that's where we want to support as OneFootball, and where we want to support the ecosystem. And that's what we're doing every day. And that's, I think, what will also have to happen, because price adjustments are accelerated now via the pandemic, that more and more parties are pulling out, and there are less and less white knights who just say, okay, then I pay $1 billion, because literally the media companies, broadcasters have challenging times and had challenging times. So my hope is that, not that this is a good thing, but my hope that this is really helping and supporting the fact that we have to go back to user and fan-centric approach.
And speaking of a user-centric approach, Itai, how do you expect us to be consuming these sports in 5 years? Will we sit down and watch from whistle to whistle, or will we be consuming it in 30-second blocks produced using WSC's technology?
Right. I'll give you a diplomatic answer. I actually agree with all the three panelists. I think it's going to be some kind of combination between all of them. I believe in integrated OTT platforms that give you a comprehensive solution for a lot of leagues in one platform, because I think it's I think there are more odds for a fan to subscribe to a platform that offers them a lot of leagues, especially if it's tier 2 or niche sports, rather than pay separately for each and every one of them. Then I also agree with Lucas that these kind of platforms have to be affordable and understand that sports compete with other things that are not other sports platforms. I agree with this notion very much. And then also Tobias talked about short form content and personalized content. And that's going to be a core component of this future and not so far future platforms, because eventually I believe that most of the fans would want to get, especially the young ones, they want to get the interesting things, the highlights, the personalized things, rather than watching 90 minutes. Unfortunately, I'm saying that as a football fan, but I think that eventually people want to get the teasers and the special moments as part of that big platform.
Thank you all so much for what has been an absolutely brilliant discussion. My head is exploding here with the possibilities of it. If you're watching out there and taking part in this seminar, don't be afraid to reach out to my guests here today, because they are more than happy to talk about their companies, their work, what they do, to give advice and to spread the word about sports on OTT platforms. That's it for this particular session, but join us again at 16:30 Central European time. We're going to have a little break for half an hour or so now, but then we'll be moving on to the worlds of betting and sponsorship to talk about betting operators and sports media partnerships in Europe and CIS. My name is Philip O'Connor, and we'll be back again in a half an hour. And thanks again to all who took part today and to all who've been watching.
Thank you.